Hi, welcome to another episode of History in 7 Facts. In this show, we'll explore some of the most interesting things that we know or not know about our own past. In the first chapter, we'll explore some of the things we know about the origins of human beings, and in today's episode, we'll try to figure out why in the world are we one of the few monogamous creatures on this planet. So stay tuned, cause you might be surprised. By default, we tend to look for a partner, a husband or wife with which to mate and ideally spend the rest of our lives with. But scientists have long been trying to figure out why we do this. What is the evolutionary advantage of monogamy? And the most likely answer has to do with our diet. Our earliest ancestors were doing just fine living in tropical forests, eating fruits, seeds and insects. But something happened millions of years ago. Temperatures dropped and precipitations reduced. So the tropical forests started to shrink and retreat to areas that could still sustain them. Our anthropoid ancestors found themselves with less territory and food, so they had to venture out into the savannas in order to simply not starve to death. But the savanna has less food and it was a much more dangerous place. On these open fields, predators were already hunting herds of herbivores. And these predators were much stronger and faster than the anthropoids. Our lineage had a very big chance to simply die out, go extinct. But they didn't. They changed tactics, and they found salvation in the form of fat, bloody, nutrient-rich meat. If you study the fossil records of those times, you'll start noticing a pattern. The first hominids, like the famous Australopithecus, had large jaws and teeth, perfect for chewing leaves. But as time progressed, those species that are more closely related to us started to have smaller but sharper canine teeth. An adaptation that seems to suggest that we first had to cut and rip our food before chewing it. Our stomach also got smaller as it adapted to digesting flesh. In the beginning, these hominids were scavengers, eating leftovers from other predators. But gradually, we became bullies and used a different tactic. We scared away the predators in order to steal their prey. As is the case in other matters of human evolution, the information we have is a bit fuzzy and open to interpretation. But the generally accepted timeline for this transformation goes something like this. Around 7 million years ago, most hominids that were ever going to venture into the savannas already did so, or rather were forced to do so. 4 million years ago, this change in our diet led to an increase in the size of the brain, which presumably meant more intelligence. 2 million years ago, the changes brought by this new diet in the hominid's body were now evident. They had smaller abdomens, larger brains, and specialized teeth. 1 million years ago, specialized tools, not just for scraping and cutting meat but also for hunting, started to appear all over the place. So how does eating meat relate to having a partner for life? It changed everything. Meat is much more nutritious than roots or leaves, and it offers a lot more energy. With our previous diet, we had to pretty much spend our entire days picking up food and eating, while with meat, one meal a day could keep you alive. And when food becomes increasingly scarce, switching to this kind of diet is a game changer. The difference between survival and extinction. But including meat into our diet also enabled something else. It meant that more energy could be spent on using our brains instead of our muscles. And with each new species, the brains of the hominids became larger and larger. The hominids used this newly obtained extra intelligence to get more food with which they could more easily attract the attention of their female companions. But don't be fooled, life in those times was no picnic. It's not like they had a supermarket at their disposal. So gradually, the hominids developed a new idea. In order to maximize the distribution of food, a new type of group started to emerge: the family. Yep, we're getting closer to our answer now. Pregnant females and those with infants couldn't participate in the search for food, so they were left behind. Instead, they were tasked to gather fruits and larvae from nearby and take care of the little ones. All the while, the males spent their days searching for meat. But this presents a problem. How do females make sure they get their fair share of the spoils? And how do males ensure that their own offsprings will get their share and not the offsprings of others? Remember, these were crucial problems in a time when famine was always just one step away. But they figured out a solution. They started forming couples. Thus, they learned to distinguish their own partners and limit their sexual availability to them, thus making sure that their own offspring will have a maximum chance of survival. So it would seem that family life, and maybe even love, started with sharing a nice, juicy steak. It needs to be said that not all scientists believe that this scenario is correct. Not all human societies are monogamous, and even those that are have a very high percentage of individuals that have had more than one sexual partner in their lifetime. Our cultural standards strongly dictate how we feel about these things, and at the same time, most of us do have a desire for more than one partner. Furthermore, it does seem that this way we limit ourselves to a lower genetic variety. So perhaps monogamy was meant to last only as long as an infant was involved, since in this case having strong family bonds would increase the chances of survival for all parties in times of scarcity. But outside this scenario, monogamy doesn't seem to offer a lot of benefits and might just be a social construct. And we can't really draw any conclusions from our other primate cousins, since they are quite different from us for one, and their behavior in this matter differs from species to species, which makes sense, since they evolved in different circumstances that forced them to behave in their own specific way. There are also other theories that try to explain this behavior in humans. For one, having a family group ensures that males could protect their infants from other males who may kill them in order to mate with their mothers. There's also the matter of STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, which may have played their own role. Studies have shown that in small groups of 20 to 30 people, STDs don't cause an epidemic due to monogamy. While in large societies, STDs become epidemic very fast. Having just one partner can ensure that you and your mate will stay healthy. Of course, none of these theories might be true, or it can be a combination of all of them. The truth is, we don't really know why we live in monogamous societies, and this aspect of human evolution might remain a mystery for a very long time. Thank you for watching this episode of 7 Facts. I hope this was interesting and informative, and maybe it even inspired you to look into it further on your own. If you liked the video, please thumbs up and subscribe. While you're downstairs, let me know what you think about this video. Please consider visiting my Patreon page and becoming a patron. The link is in the description. I hope to see you next time. Bye.